The flu season is upon us. Which type will we worry about this year? And what kind of shots will we be told to take? Remember the swine flu scare of 1976? That was the year the U.S. government told us all that swine flu could turn out to be a killer that could spread across the nation. And Washington decided that every man, woman, and child in the nation should get a shot to prevent a nationwide outbreak, a pandemic. Well, 46 million of us obediently took the shot. And now 4,000 Americans are claiming damages from Uncle Sam amounting to $3.5 billion because of what happened when they took that shot. By far the greatest number of the claims, 2/3 of them, are for neurological damage or even death, allegedly triggered by the flu shot. We pick up the story back in 1976 when the threat posed by the swine flu virus seemed very real indeed.
This virus was the cause of a pandemic in 1918 and 1919 that resulted in over 500,000 deaths in the United States, as well as 20 million deaths around the world.
See how easy it is to...
Thus, the U.S. government's publicity machine was cranked into action to urge all America to protect itself against the swine flu menace.
Influenza is serious business. During major flu epidemics, millions of people are sick and thousands die. Well, this year you can get protection. The vaccines are safe, easy to take, and they can protect you against flu. So roll up your sleeve. Protect yourself.
There's only one thing I can think of that hits harder than us.
What can that be?
The swine flu. It can knock you flat.
So what's the defense for it, huh?
Like our philosophy. You gotta hit it before it hits you.
You mean the shot?
Yeah.
You got yours?
You better believe it. If swine flu wants to challenge me, I'm ready.
Oh, me too, brother. Me too.
Get the swine flu shot.
One of those who did roll up her sleeve was Judy Roberts. She was perfectly healthy, an active woman, when in November of 1976, she took her shot. 2 weeks later, she says, she began to feel a numbness starting up her legs.
I joked about it at that time. I said I'll be numb to the knees by Friday if this keeps up. By the following week, I was totally paralyzed.
So completely paralyzed, in fact, that they had to operate on her to enable her to breathe. And for 6 months, Judy Roberts was a quadriplegic. The diagnosis? A neurological disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS for short. These neurological diseases are little understood. They affect people in different ways. As you can see in these home movies taken by a friend, Judy Roberts' paralysis confined her mostly to a wheelchair for over a year. But this disease can even kill. Indeed, there are 300 claims now pending from the families of GBS victims who died, allegedly as a result of the swine flu shot. In other GBS victims, the crippling effects diminish and all but disappear. But for Judy Roberts, progress back to good health has been painful and partial.
Guillain-Barré syndrome is a fairly uncommon condition. What starts as a tingling sensation in your hands, legs, and feet can quickly turn into near full body paralysis. Roughly 3,000 to 6,000 people are diagnosed every year in the U.S., and it's a situation that musician Sufjan Stevens is currently going through.
Our Michael Martin takes a closer look at this diagnosis and what lies ahead on the road to recovery.
I started to having tingling in my hands and in my feet, and started losing any motion in my lower extremities.
Back in March, 71-year-old Ralph Berggren was coming home from a quick trip down south. Having some respiratory issues, he decided to stop by a medical center where he was diagnosed with pneumonia.
Within 48 hours, I was completely paralyzed. All I could move was my head. This one right here.
But there was something else going on. An enthusiastic golfer, healthy husband, within days had become almost entirely unable to move.
It was extremely fast, and they had, I ended up with a trach and food tubes.
It wasn't just pneumonia pummeling his body. Berggren would quickly be diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome.
So that's when the body's immune system attacks itself or your own body, and it primarily attacks the peripheral nerves. So those are the nerves in your arms and your legs.
Essentially, your immune system becomes a weapon against specific nerves.
You begin to lose the ability to walk and also use your arms and even sit up.
The 71-year-old would end up at Mary Free Bed, their staff helping to teach his body to move again. But even months down the road, he can still feel the throb on his nerves.
And so I just felt that everything in my body was shutting down, and I thought, I could be dying.
As he recovers, now able to walk the hallways of his home and swing the 7-iron club once too heavy to lift, musician and visual artist Sufjan Stevens is further back in that same process. On September 20th, he announced he was undergoing intensive rehab after a Guillain-Barré diagnosis himself. Growing up in Petoskey and graduating from Hope College in 1998, Stevens wrote online, "Last month, I woke up one morning and couldn't walk. My hands, arms, and legs were numb and tingling, and I had no strength, no feeling, no mobility. It's left him unable to perform or promote his new music. A prolific artist of a myriad mediums, his newest full-length album, Javelin, releases Friday. In one of his most recent updates, he said, "I know I've often been the poster child of pain, loss, and loneliness, but the past month has renewed my hope in humanity. All the caregivers, doctors, nurses, and specialists working 24/7 to care for those in dire need around me have been constant examples of love in action."
It is very scary when you have it for most people, but most people do end up doing pretty well.
While about 3,000 to 6,000 Americans are diagnosed with GBS each year, about half make a full recovery, and 80% will end up walking without any assistance.
It's hard, and when your body is not cooperating and your muscles not working as they should be, you have to work at it, and that helped. And so once I started feeling like I could move my legs, then I felt a lot better.
Michael Martin, Fox 17 News.
So completely paralyzed, in fact, that they had to operate on her to enable her to breathe. And for 6 months, Judy Roberts was a quadriplegic. The diagnosis? A neurological disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS for short. These neurological diseases are little understood. They affect people in different ways. As you can see in these home movies taken by a friend, Judy Roberts' paralysis confined her mostly to a wheelchair for over a year. But this disease can even kill. Indeed, there are 300 claims now pending from the families of GBS victims who died, allegedly as a result of the swine flu shot.